And last but not least, let's talk about the full first season of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Yeah, Ricardo, take it away. What was this first season about?
Yeah, this was great. So yeah, how it works is as a kind of MCU adjacent narrative where what if it's Norman Osborn discovered he was Spider-Man instead of Tony Stark? And so the events of the MCU plays out roughly the same. We see, they make allusions to Civil War and allusions to to other movies like Winter Soldier and whatnot. But then it's playing out the Spider-Man narrative on its own, and then they take a lot of Spider-Man characters and then play them in their own narrative and make it work on its own right. Most of the narrative is really focusing on Norman Osborn and Peter's relationship, and then Peter's relationship with God, I forget his real name, Tombstone, and they bounce off of that really interestingly and have it build up in terms of like a power set and certain characters getting powers, and we find out who doing that, and then they straight up reveal how it is he get his spider powers in the first place, and it's some interstellar nonsense spoiler, but they just frame it back into its own conceit about what's going on, and somebody pointed this out, and I didn't recognize it until they say it. It's like, yeah, this is exactly season one of the Flash, straight up
Boy,
season one of the
as
Flash,
you say, season one of the Flash, right? It all right. So we'll touch on
especially with a final
spoilers, huh?
reveal. Especially with a
Yes,
final
yes.
reveal.
When I see
I'm
that,
like,
I was
holy
thinking,
shit.
"Oh, this is Flash trend." But
But then when I
yes,
think
yeah,
about it,
yeah.
it's straight up the season one of the Flash because it have a couple big reveals in the final episode. It's like, oh, all right, that's why that happened. All right, that's why that happened. All right, and then this final reveal, another final reveal, and it's like, okay, that kind of interesting on its own right. And yeah, this was good. Like it pretty good. I enjoy it. One first thing first, I love voice acting. I don't hate the animation. Is how you feel about the anime because sometimes it look kind of weird and choppy. Other times look fine. I enjoy it for what it was. Um, the opening theme song is great, especially they keep changing the titles. So there's a bunch of different titles. So each thing is a bunch of allusions to Spider-Man. And then it's very meta Spider-Man. Like it also alludes to not only the MCU, but also a lot of Spider-Man stuff from the Garfield stuff. Sorry, the Garfield movies and the Tobey Maguire movies. They make allusions to like Doctor Octopus in Spider-Man 2. So they say, "Wait, I don't want to have the power of the sun." I'm like, okay, cool. And then Coleman Domingo is pretty good as Osborn, where he basically just doing a what do you call it, Osborn from the movies now. Um, he doing an impression of that, and that works. And this just it's one of those great little meta projects. I don't think this is as good as Spectacular Spider-Man, but it's still pretty good. Like it's a good outing. They tell the story, they tell Peter, they reframe a couple characters, they make it work. They introduce a couple like all these side characters they use well. I enjoy that. It's kind of like with Batman or Superman, where they just take a bunch of other different side characters and then build them into the narrative. And yeah, it feels like that. And it's just a well solid outing for me, as it is. And it's just good storytelling, good characterization. They make it work, and it's funny. Yeah, I dug the hell out of this.
Yeah, I really dug this show as well, right? Didn't love it as all that though, but I had a lot of fun with this, right? So for one thing, you're right, the voice acting was great across the board though. I only found this out after the fact, right? But I forgot the actor's name, but that guy apparently had popped up in What If,
Who's that?
as the Spider-Man. Okay, so forgive me, folks. I don't remember everything in the three seasons of What If, right? But according to Wikipedia, that voice actor did play Spider-Man in an episode of What
Okay.
If. I just can't remember which one it was, right?
Well, there's only the one on What If episode with Spider-Man was, I don't know if it's the same with Spider-Man, but the one with the zombies, right? Gotta be that, right?
Or when you talking about the Marvel Zombies episode,
Yeah.
it could be
No, that
him,
was a Spider. I think
could
Spider-Man
be.
was in that episode. Yeah, that was a Spider-Man
Yes,
episode.
yes, yes. It could be, but I have to look it up and see if he popped up in any other show, right? I love the dialogue between characters, right? Especially in moments of downtime, right? So like I love the moments with when Peter's talking to like characters like Pearl, right? His first crush, or Nico, his kind of crush, but more friend. Basically, that's what she is
Right,
basically.
right.
Yeah, those little moments, those little quiet moments are really dog though, right?
Yeah,
Their relationship with Harry Osborn, I really thought
right.
really worked as well, right? And I like how Harry is played here, like this rich kid now, right? But
Yeah.
I just love how awkward he sounds or he moves when he talking to Peter for the first time, and especially with Nico though. That's those early moments I thought was pretty funny, right? But I like how he kind of works up the courage to be more open to them now. I really dug that, right? And I like that the show never lost sight of the fact that yes, Norman is not to be trusted, right? Even though
Right. Yeah.
he's technically the father
There's a
figure in the show of Peter.
there's a great moment about the speech and the power, and they make allusion to the comic. So with great power comes
Come,
great.
respect.
Right.
That caught me.
Great
That was
twist
great.
on the yeah, great twist on the conceit. But then when they play with it, they play with it with Scorpion. So this I was like, oh yeah, I thought they would go further with this, right? But in the comic, when Doctor Octopus took over Peter's body, he actually like went full strength on Scorpion and he breaks Scorpion jaw completely off. And I thought that's where they was going with it. So it's interesting that they use Scorpion as a person to fight with. With that. But basically, you find out that Peter much stronger than people give it credit for. He's been holding back most of the time now. So I like
Yes.
that. They play with that aspect of it.
Yeah, and speak it's touching on Scorpion and Tombstone, right? I like that we I don't want to call them like B or C tier Spider-Man villains. You know, when
Yeah,
it comes to A tier, you know,
yeah,
you're always thinking about Kingpin, right? And there
right,
was a moment, slight spoiler, there was a moment, a reveal where I thought, holy shit, this is Wilson Fisk. I
right.
seen a white outfit on. I
Yeah,
realized, oh shit, it's Doc Ock.
yeah,
Like
right, right, right.
that reveal was great, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Also, I love this depiction of Doc Ock here. I love
yeah,
how bratty and how dickish he is. You know,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and when you understand why, especially with his relationship with his former relationship with business relationship, sorry, with Norman Osborn, it make a lot of sense, right? There's a fantastic piece of dialogue between both characters, right?
Yeah, and
Like
then yeah,
it great too, right? I love that. Just the the banter because is both characters kind of shit each other up, right? But I love Doc Ock's perspective. We talk about I love how he calls Norman out of this, right? I should mention, folks, just slight spoilers, right? Not too much spoilers, so we're not going to do the warning here, but slight spoilers from this point on, right? Yeah, he kind of call out Norman like, you're not really that smart. You just take other people's knowledge, other people's
right,
discoveries, and you
right.
just
Yeah,
capitalize on that. I
he completely
love
call
that.
out nobody. Yeah, yeah. Great scene.
Yeah, and then you see it play out later on, like, wow,
Mhm.
Trey, like the
Yeah,
man really nailed it though. Like, just that moment was great, right? I love that. But yeah, I just love this dickish version of Doc Ock though, because he is still the super genius as we know him as, right? But there's this kind of entitled character, like, you know, why am I still working with these wannabe thugs and all that kind of stuff? I love how he frames himself there, right? I also love the sort of down to earth nature of the show as well, right? You know, showing that showing the socio-economic state of New York, right? So it's not just New York just being this backdrop for Spider-Man to swing and solve
right.
to stop crime, but also you're seeing how it is to live there, right? So I love how the oh gosh, the character, well, the Tombstone character, Lonnie, right? How he's framed here, right? You know, he's this prospect as far as football goes, but because he get roped up in a situation where he had to join this gang,
Right.
piece of his brother. Yeah,
I had a mild problem with that, but
Is is it because of the decision? Because at first when he make the decision, I was like,
all right.
dude, you know
So
you didn't know how to do that to do. But
right.
he
Well,
keeps saying,
that's
oh,
one.
it's about my brother, it's about my
Right.
family. It's like,
You know,
no, you doing this for
here's the issue I do this. Here's the problem I do this. I felt they could have probably modernized that and make that a little more interesting. Because they just the guy who's I forget the guy's name, the fellows the former head who run away like a chicken shit
or
kid.
big Donovan. Yeah, he
Big
run
Don,
away like a
right.
little
So
bitch. Shit.
Big
Slight
Don,
spoiler,
right.
he run away like a bitch. That's
Right.
what we'll say.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But Big Don, I felt Big Don was not that bright. So he have Big Don. Big Don have him. He know who Lonnie is, right? And what I thought was gonna happen is that he gonna let Lonnie play football, but have to throw games or do something like that no, to make money.
Oh,
I thought they
okay.
would have used the football no, to better because like why would you like take him away? He have all this potential. Why would you take him away from that? And we know like gangs and mafia does involved itself in like high school betting and college betting and that kind of thing. So I thought that's what was gonna happen. Like that would have been to me a smarter way to play with that instead of having him just work as a gangster to potentially be killed. Like he's like a really good asset. I don't know. That was just bothering me in the back of my head. Like I thought they would have him. No, Lonnie, let me throw some games since he's such a good player. You know, do some betting shit for me. Some right. And you play with it in the context of his skill set now. Or whatever. Moving on.
Also another thing, another slight spoiler here, right? There's a moment where you see these men like dealing guns. Us. Like you see like
Right.
they get like a shipment of guns, right? And there's like two or three moments where they going up against Scorpion's gang, right? And Huss is like you're watching West Side Story, Dread. It's like a
Right,
rumble.
right.
You know,
Pretty much.
everybody have like steel pipe and thing. And they're like, well, where the guns, homie? Where the
Exactly.
guns? Like
It
what?
was kind of dumb.
Like I understand. I understand
And
the
the other thing
nature of
is
the
that
show. Like sorry,
and
like
even
I
before,
understand the nature of the show. You don't wanna have the characters fight now. So you have like fights then. Not so much
right.
shootouts. That's what you want, right?
No, no,
But
even
then why shoot them with guns at
yeah,
that point in
exactly.
the show?
But
Yeah.
even before that, like to be even without when even before they get the Scorpion thing, and even before Scorpion gets upgraded, like they're clearly outclassed, right? Like to me,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like dog
this young
Scorpion
basic look.
Scorpion gang was kicking ass.
The woman, I forget the woman
Yeah,
name.
I forget her name. This chick who
Yeah,
working with Scorpion was kicking
yeah.
real
She
ass though.
real
Like,
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
she real.
So like, it was kind of silly at a certain point. Like I felt like I don't know the Lonnie story. They had to get to him to be in Tombstone. They explain how, whatever. But I felt
Yeah,
that was clumsily handled, given like what Lonnie's skill set is and knowing the real world part of this. So like, why use him in that way? I don't know. It bothered me. It didn't bother me too much, but I could move on from it. But it kind of it was still kind of dutish. But
yeah.
everything else I enjoyed.
But that's just last point on Scorpion. I think Scorpion made for a really good villain
Right.
here, right?
Great.
That
Yeah. He gives a
man could
great fight. Yeah.
talk, dude. That man have just the way how he talking down to his enemies. I love, dude. Just the cockiness of it all, though. Because like when it comes to Scorpion, I just remember him from the 90s animated series. Like I don't have like an
Right.
archetype in mind of how a Scorpion character should be
No.
like, right?
Yeah.
But
Right.
just this version of him, this Spanish version of him, I really
Right.
liked it. Like I just
Oh,
like how cocky this
it's the
man
same
is. Man.
guy. No, but it's the same guy from Thing, right? From Homecoming, right? So
Oh
that's the same
right,
guy.
right.
Yeah.
Duh, yeah, I forget, right? But
Right.
anyway, but speaking of that though, I love the allusions to older MCU films. I like that it stops at Civil War, so it's like from Civil War go backwards, right?
But
So I
around
love
that
the
time, yeah, exactly.
so I love the mention of the Sokovia Accords and where's Captain America, all those little stuff that I love that, right? But I just like the fact that this is like an alternate version of the Spider-Man character that we've seen in the MCU films up
Correct. Yeah,
until
it's
you know
MCU adjacent.
yeah, that's what it is, right? And I'm not gonna spoil too much here, right? But I love how they pretty much make it clear now for those who are still querying whether this was what universe this is, right? With a little reveal, a little moment in the end during the final montage or what I see, I was like, all right, sure, I love that. I see what you did there. Um,
Well, all right. So I don't want to spoil anything, but it's straight up some interstellar nonsense. Like it's the same thing. That's the
Oh, all right,
same.
all right, all right. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all I'll say.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to
Whatever.
that, no. And this was like what I said when we reviewed the first two episodes. I was wondering how and when Doctor Strange is gonna come in, right? He does show up, right? But yes, they do this sort of like time loop kind of thing. So
Right.
one moment feeds into the other, but how it will work now going forward,
Right.
especially with the aftermath of it all, which we're not gonna spoil it all, right? But yeah, it is an interstellar thing where you feel like something in the present kind of feeds into something in the past, but
Right.
then now you're wondering then how the thing happened in the first place. In other words,
Right.
how Peter became Spider-Man now if this thing happened at this point in time is
Right.
weird. As I say,
So
it's really interstellar
so
shit.
we had this argument already. It's a close time loop. Whatever. Moving on. Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care.
it's weird, right? But I
Yeah.
like this show those stop to explain it. In other words, it's all like, all right, well, we'll see what happens in the next episode,
Right.
right?
Well,
We will
they
see.
leave. Well,
We'll see.
Yeah, they leave something important as well with that. With Norman find it. It's like, all right.
Yeah,
I
that was cool, right?
we'll get to that. When we get to that, I'll get to that because it's something that I felt a lot of people wanted and should have happened. But we'll get to that. Go ahead.
Okay, well, do you think we should get to that now, or should just mention a few other
Right.
things?
So I just going to
All right.
spoil it ahead of time. I kind of calling this ahead of time. Harry gonna be Venom.
Oh, okay, okay.
Right. Because from since Spider-Man 3, everybody said that is what they should have done instead. They
That
should
is
have
right.
Harry.
Yeah,
Should
because
have
yeah,
Harry be Venom.
I'm one of the few people who was never a fan of Harry, as in not James
Right.
Martin. Oh gosh, I'm
Yeah,
getting his name right now, right? From
yeah, yeah.
Harry from the old Spider-Man trilogy.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I was never a fan of him being Green Goblin too. I
Right. Right.
understand he had to do it for your father's sake and blah blah blah, but
Right. Right.
I
Right.
always felt like he should have been Venom and not bringing Eddie Brock and have to set up a character and blah blah blah.
Right.
That I felt that was one of the biggest letdowns of Spider-Man 3. But yeah,
Right.
you're right
That's
though.
why I
Yeah.
feel they're going with that. That's why I think they're going with that. So they had Norman find it, and Norman gonna play shenanigans. And we know Norman was dabbling with the spider because he take Peter Blood, which again is the interstellar nonsense time loop thing. But he take Peter Blood to make the spider, and then that same spider come back to bite him. But he get the Venom suit now. The Venom symbiote, the little piece of it. It's like, all right, well, they're going with that. I feel that's what I feel they're going. We don't know.
Yeah, but on the subject of Harry, I'm really curious as to how his dynamic with his dad will play out, right?
Right.
Seeing where he puts himself in the end, right? Which I would spoil, right?
Yeah.
Few more things before we get to Rita, right? Nico, I thought
Right.
she was a fun character. I
Yeah,
like
I don't know who
how
she's supposed to be the comic. I not familiar
I
with this
don't know
character. So.
neither.
Yeah, yeah.
And here's the thing, with because of how vast these, the world of Marvel Comics is, right? I would not be surprised if Nico is some
No,
legacy character or
it
version
is a
of a
character.
legacy character.
It's an old character. I know no, it is a character. It's not like I don't think they invent the character or anything like that. But it is a character as far as I know. But they bring up. But I'm not familiar with the character to be honest. It's one of these deep cut characters I had to look up and I was like, ah, okay. But to
Yeah.
me, it was interesting that they reveal this thing at the end because they keep alluding to it throughout the show. Right? They keep
Right, that
doing
was
little
about to say.
little
Which
pendant.
I don't know, like a slightly let down by this. Like I felt they could have made this reveal later on in the show
Well,
instead
I
of
don't
waiting
know.
to
I
the
don't know.
very end to say, you know?
But to be fair, I don't know what it does because they made the allusion to it and then they reveal something involving, well, I think her dead mother. She could talk to her mother or whatever it is. But then they bring it up, they just allude to it at the end, so it's super vague, and then they don't do anything with it. And then even Doctor Strange seem to be aware of what's going on. Like you would think that you'd realize some magic shenanigans going on, but she don't like utilize it too much or abuse it. So it's like, all right, whatever. I don't know. It is weird.
Yeah, that's true. Also, this was a big reveal to me. Showing Peter's dad though as
Right.
this,
So that is a
yeah,
huge thing.
as this incarcerated, this
Right.
prisoner there.
That gets me.
I
Because
I got
I thought
flash
at
vibes from
first.
that instantly. Yeah, I got
No, I
flash
thought
vibes
at
of that.
first. Yeah, because I thought at first it was Ben, eh? I was like, oh shit,
No,
Ben
me
not
too,
dead.
me too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
I
tell you
thought.
why, right? I'll tell you why,
Yeah.
because they had the close up of the picture
Right.
of, well,
Right.
at least we thought, or maybe I'll watch it over. I think
Yeah,
it
no.
is Ben and Aunt Me and Peter.
But
I could be
it's
wrong,
really.
right?
But it's no. I don't think so. It's Richard. It's Richard Parker. It's the father. I'm like, oh shit, that okay. I will see where they go
Right.
and go with this. And again, it's not mind blowing. This is just solid, but it's a solid Spider-Man take. It's just like, oh, they just take some solid Spider-Man storytelling. I don't like this anywhere near as much as the first Sony Spider-Man game. I like it. I'll say it probably better than the 90s Spider-Man. Um, but I don't think it's better than Spectacular Spider-Man. But it's just solid, smart, modern takes on the material. A modern take on the material. Where they go with the characters. I want to see what they're gonna do with Doc Ock. I want to see what they're gonna do with the Venom symbiote. If they're gonna do something interesting with that. And then, well, for me, the most interesting part was, Richard Parker's still alive, and okay, that fascinating. Like, all right, fine.
Yeah,
It's
it
like, all
is.
right,
It
like
is,
let's
right?
see, let's see what they're gonna do with that. That is really fascinating. I
Yeah.
really want to see what they're gonna do with that.
Right. And lastly, as far as the animation goes, right? It is one of those things that you have to get used to. For
Yeah,
me, I just always, like I said it before, right? Is just the character movements a little jerky at times,
a little bit.
especially when
Yeah,
it comes to the mouth, right? But it's one of those like styles where it's like 3D animation, right? It's like when 3D animation is incorporated into 2D and you try to blend it together.
yeah,
It has
yeah.
that kind of look to it, right? But because it has this 2D look, even though it's all 3D,
Right.
that's
I was
where,
saying
yeah, you have to
it
kind of get used to
yeah,
the look of it. Yeah.
yeah, this felt like a modern update to like that. Remember that MTV Spider-Man? It felt like that. Like it's
Yes.
that. Like, and it just feel like that, but the technology better. And then they decide to go with the whole comic book. I forget what it's called, that style, that rotoscope style, comic book style now.
Hmm.
I got Beautiful Joe now. I forget, it's slipping my mind
Oh
right now.
gosh, yeah, Beautiful Joe. Oh shit, you don't allow me hear about that? Yeah,
Yeah, no, yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is, right?
Right.
I should look up the, well,
It'll come to me.
what
Well,
the style is, what that, right?
yeah.
And but overall though, I do like the presentation of it. I like
Cell
how
shaded, cell
vibrant the
shaded,
colors is. Cell
cell
shaded,
shaded,
that's right. Yeah.
cell shaded. Yeah.
I love how vibrant it is for the colors and whatnot. The music works. The theme song is a bop. Is a bop. Is that a slap? Is a
Right.
bop. Is that a
Here's
slap?
the
Is a
thing with that
bop,
team
right?
song, yeah. Here's the thing with that team song. I felt, in my humble opinion, take out the rapping.
Yeah.
Just have the instrumental. Because the instrumental on its own hard, right?
It has.
It's
Yeah.
classic Spider-Man theme song. They mix in with a great hip hop beat. It sound
Yeah.
good. And I take out the rapping and just play that by itself.
Yeah.
You don't need to,
The rapping is a little
it's
too
fine.
standard
It's
for me.
fine, but
It's
it's not
fine.
special.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
special.
That's
Yeah,
special.
take it out
Yeah.
and just play it straight. And just play that same song straight with all the same thing, but just take out the rapping. Same instrumental, take out the rapping, and that just like a small nitpick change about that. Whatever, moving
Yeah.
on.
But yeah, animation for the most part is solid though.
Yeah,
The action scenes very well done.
yeah,
Um, And I love how lastly how it always incorporates the comic book panel, right? So they will
Right.
always have these moments where you see like you see like the white little border, if you will, around certain shots.
Right.
There's
So
one
I,
moment. This what's
I,
like
I,
spoiler. There's one moment involving a fight scene with Scorpion, Spider-Man, and Tombstone where they incorporate that, and you had a character like literally in front of everything, and it just sort of
yeah,
zooms out into it. I see.
yeah.
I was like, "Hoss, that real dreados.
Yeah,
That
no, they do that
real
really good.
dreados."
And the last time, I can't think the last time when they do this in a movie and they make it work. The last time I think about it, and when in that example, I don't think they utilize it well, which was the Ang Lee Hulk, right? Um,
Yes, that's true.
that's the last time
Yes.
they kind of do that. I
Mm.
do remember they utilize it really intelligently here, though, in terms of like how to move around the camera with the comic panels, and you have the white border. Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, I can't think the last time they never really do it well, other than
Yeah.
this. It probably has
Well,
similar
well,
to
but no,
that.
I think they did it a couple times I think in the first Spider-Verse movie, not so much the second, but the first one,
Right.
right?
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but
Right.
unlike those Spider-Verse movies, I like that they did do the whole onomatopoeia thing. See that
Right.
scene,
No. No.
twip and
Yeah,
pow and
I
whack,
love that.
right? Because
I mean,
yeah, that would have been a little too much. That would have been a
no,
little too
in
much.
the case of Spider Verse, because there's a lot of humor, it works. Like, I still love that they have the cough thing in the beginning of the
Yep,
across
yep,
Spider
yep,
Verse.
yep.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
like
that.
really clever. Yeah, but that's it. But yeah, I don't know. I dug the hell out of the show. It really worked. Like for the most part, I actually interested into seeing what's going on. It didn't feel standard or boring or nothing like that. Actually interested and engaged in it in the material. And they did a pretty smart thing of how they released the material. So instead of doing like sometimes you'll just instead of doing the whole thing or dropping the whole thing as one or just doing the first three episodes and then single, they do two at a time, but three at a time, then two at a time, then three at a time. Like they kind of mixing and matching how they do it, and I get the
Yeah.
feeling they're trying to experiment with how to release it and how to mix up. Putting out a good bit of content, but also getting people to talk about it at the same time. Because that's something that Disney has been experimenting since pretty much the beginning of COVID, especially with WandaVision. They don't know how to. They're going back and forth about that, but whatever, it's fine. Yeah, they had little cameos. That was great. We had to talk about them little small cameos, solid
Yeah,
cameos.
yeah.
Um,
The cameos work. Well, we mentioned Doctor Strange before.
right,
Iron
Iron
Man
Man,
showing up was
right,
dope.
right.
Daredevil, boy, that caught me by
Daredevil, very
surprise.
hard. And well, they reveal a Daredevil with who you working with. So like, oh, don't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Also,
the girl,
I should mention too the character who he working with.
yeah,
First time I seen her, right? So I
right,
am now
right.
wondering. I asked this of myself when the show wrapped up, right? When the series wrapped up. Will she be in this new Daredevil series season thing? I don't know.
I have no idea. So I think I don't know. We don't know.
Cause that's too deep of a cut though to bring her character
Probably.
into there just so. Yeah.
Well, what did the ending, the last piece of world building again with Harry, where they leave the company and then Harry starts his own thing with the other people and all of them say, well, presumably say yes. And that is interesting because again, we have a bunch of characters. So again, I don't think that Gil is some random Wakanda Gil. I think that character is Shuri.
Oh,
Um,
Asha. Yeah,
yeah,
Asha. Yeah.
that character is straight up. I think that character is straight up Shuri. Like she just lying because I find she look too much like Shuri. Whatever. But then you have Hulk, right? Second Hulk, right? Chow, right? Cho Amadeus, right? Um,
That's who he is. Okay, I
yeah, he's
did not
Amadeus
know
Cho.
who Amadeus
So
was.
here's the thing: in the MCU, his mom shows up. That was his mom in Age of Ultron. So everybody's saying, "Oh, well, he's gonna show up eventually." Uh, but like, all right, well, what are you gonna do with that? And then we see him in this. So like, and then all of these characters is heroes and characters. So it's like, all right, I want to see where it's going. But this have real potential. Like if they keep their head on a swivel and write it well and don't rely on the MCU stuff too much. Don't rely on the referencing too much. Just do it in such a way where you as a fan know what to look for. Right? You know, hey, there's a shot or there's a reference to Spider-Man 2. But you as a fan have to know that. Just tell a story and have characters bounce off each other. And then the big beats you play with. Like I really thought that beat of with great power comes great respect is a great beat. Great
It is.
beat.
Yes.
Immediately tells you everything you need to know about Norman and the context of Peter and why he is the way he is and so on and so forth. And I thought they could really do something interesting with that going forward. But yeah, I dug the hell out of this rating. Yeah, like I 8, but high 8, closer to 9 actually, because it's like it really kept my interest and I dug the hell out of it. The weaknesses and the downsides didn't bother me too much. It's like it was in and out. Again, only the tombstone thing I find was just a little clumsy. That held it back a little bit. That was about it. Everything else I dug the hell out of.
Yeah, same here too. For me, decent to strong 4 to 5, man. I really dug this. To me, the biggest takeaway for this though is how it feels like it's catering to both MCU fans and Marvel Comics fans, right? The character development, reintroducing us to Peter Parker and his world made a
Yeah.
lot of sense. This really feels like my adventures with Superman, right?
Right.
Where it's a
Yeah.
character that we know and it's part
Yeah.
of pop
And they
culture, and
update it. Yeah.
right, but they update it, but it also
Yeah.
feels like we tapping into the essence of these characters, why these characters continue to be incarnated and reintroduced, right,
Yeah.
in different forms of media. Like, in other words, why do we have this show here in 2025, right? Even though we're supposed to be having another Spider-Man movie with this guy, you know what I mean? Like, why are we
But I
still
still,
doing this, right? But in
yeah,
this one, it feels totally justified though, because
yeah, and
Spider-Man
much
is
like,
just such a great character. That's
yeah,
it.
exactly.
That's
But
why.
and much, yeah, exactly. Much like again, Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, they're so big. They're so big that you could get small with them now. Like that is why they work. Like you could get away with that with doing that. But you could do all this meta commentary because the public consciousness already know enough so you could build on casually to do something interesting with it now, right? Unless you like completely fuck it up like Batman with Superman, right? Something like that, right? It's that. It's so big you can make it work as it is. And that is why this works, because we already know the material to pull from. But they tell its own story on its own right. That's it. And they make money. And it's paid for itself.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So yes, folks, if you are an MCU fan, if you're a Marvel Comics fan, if you're a superhero fan, and most importantly, if you are a Spider-Man fan, yeah, definitely check out your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And I tell us recorded this, yes, a second season has been greenlit, so I can't wait. Yeah, bring it on, man, bring it on.